What's up, little enzymes? Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. The topic of today's video is workplace stories. So, no church announcements for today. Everything that you see and hear in this video will be linked in the description. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So I came across this first story on my TikTok page. This girl came onto her TikTok complaining about how she got dress coded at a job interview because of what she was wearing. Now, I want to know what y'all think about her outfit. So this is the video. Let me just play it.
So I just got dress coded during the interview, and then they decided to reschedule the interview with me for tomorrow. But before the lady was like, "Would you like to come back? Like go change and then come back?" And I was like, "No, these are the shorts."
So get a good look. On screen right now, I have, for people who are not watching and only listening, she has on some shorts that are like kind of a little bit shorter than fingertip length. Some black shorts. They're not too tight. And then a kind of slightly cropped white cardigan and then a white shirt underneath. The outfit itself is not terrible. Just, if she was on a regular day, I don't think it would be bad. But for the workplace environment, for an interview at that, I'm not so sure, sis. Now, if she was already working at the job, it might be different because then you kind of know what the job's dress code rules are, and you've already been there, you've already built rapport. I feel like it would be different if she was already working there. But being that this is a job interview and this is your first impression, I'm not so sure that shorts was the right way to go. Let me play the rest of the video.
These are the shorts.
So she's just showing her outfit and she poses at the end, basically like, did I do anything wrong? So let me see. She puts her hands down. Let me see if they are fingertip length. They look shorter than fingertip. Let me see. She does it quickly. Yeah, they're like maybe 2 inches shorter than fingertip length, which in school, that was always the litmus test for if your shorts were too short, or in church, your shorts were too short if they were higher than the fingertip length. So everybody was berating her, this poor girl, even though she probably shouldn't have wore that outfit. There's 46,000 comments on this poor girl. There's 46,000 comments, 132,000 likes, 12,000 saves, and 68,000 shares. So people was talking up this video. Let me read some of the comments. Somebody said, it's the fact that my school is using this to talk about dress code. I'm crying. Somebody said, ma'am, you look cute. Why can't we get an update on these old dress codes? It's not the 1950s anymore. I mean, I guess every job has, a right to say what is in dress code or not. Dress code stipulations have changed over time. When I first got into the workforce and I started out working in a hospital setting, they were like, no visible tattoos. You need to cover every single tattoo you have ever. But now I see nurses, they have long nails. And even when I was like a couple more years later into working in the hospital, people were working with nose piercings. I have a couple tattoos myself. Nobody ever said anything about it. So I feel like it has gotten more lax. I feel like if that was the standard in the US, it would be fine. But I just think that it's just not. I saw another comment on one of her other videos where this lady was like, in Europe, this is like a normal summer work attire. Like, I don't see the problem. And that's okay. If that's the norm for where you live, then okay. That's not the norm here. I don't think. I haven't seen it. I also have been working from home for the past 3 years, so maybe I'm just not clued in. Someone said, you must be highly qualified for them to reschedule. Please use this as a teachable moment and congrats on getting an interview in this tough job market. Someone else said, who wears shorts to work? Another person, you should see the stuff I've seen people wear to interviews. There's nothing wrong with this in warm weather. See, I don't like when people try to qualify one person's bad actions with another person's bad actions. Not saying that she has bad actions in this moment, but I don't know. I don't like when people try to be like, well, this person did this, so you're okay. Like those are two totally separate instances, and two things can be true. That's one of my, I think that's one of my pet peeves. Like, let's stay on topic here. Oh, this is the comment I saw. This lady said, "Once again, I get to wonder what's wrong with Americans. Is nothing ever normal in America? Here in Europe, minus the UK maybe, this is a very normal office outfit in warm weather." Someone said, "Is it normal for an interview?" And the lady responded, "The Prime Minister of Finland showed up to meetings in shorts 10 years ago. Alex Stubb, he's now the president. So, based on that, I'd say shorts likely wouldn't be a problem even in an interview." Someone else said, "You couldn't think of a more recent person or time a professional wore shorts to work. Also, we are talking about an interview where you put your best foot forward. Once hired, if she wears shorts, great." And then that person said, "Because the example from a decade ago is even better, in my opinion, things tend to move more progressive with time. So, even a decade ago, the most influential political figure wore shorts to work." I mean, I do agree things progress over time, so I see what she's saying there. Someone said, "What an insane take just because of a coincidence." And then they said again, "Also, meeting does not equal interview." The original commenter responded, "Come on, a meeting between the country's most influential political leaders is a way more formal situation than an interview for a regular office job." I mean, I see the point she's trying to make. I don't agree. I think she could use a more relatable example. Not all of us are prime ministers or have like the power or authority to not care what we wear for professional situations. I feel like the higher you get in the rankings, you can kind of get away with more, maybe. I'm still on the stance that for a job interview specifically, shorts is crazy. Somebody said, "Hey, so shorts to an interview is insane." I love comments like that where people are like, "Hey, so da 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 da," or like, "Hey, so da da da, hope that helps." It's so funny to me. Somebody said, "Not very demure, not very mindful. Never seen a comment section so unified before." Somebody said, "Tyresha, not today, please. You knew very well." So it looks like all of the comments are pretty much agreeing that she's wrong. But the funny thing about this situation to me is that she didn't back down. Miss Tyresha stood on business, okay? Because all of the follow-up videos that I saw from her, she was like doubling down on her decision to wear the shorts. She even changed her TikTok bio to "your professional wardrobe girly." Honestly, capitalize off of it, sis. This was her response to the person saying that in the UK, this would be a pretty normal, like warm weather outfit.
So yeah, it seems like Americans are the only ones not wearing shorts in professional environments. I definitely need to spend a year out of the country then and get as many shorts worn as I can, so that way I can avoid the internet being outraged.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all she said about that. Let me see this other. So somebody had commented, "They were polite. Most would have just outright rejected same day." And so this was her response.
Okay. So I've seen this comment a lot too, where people are saying they would have rejected me or there would not have been a second chance to come back. And honestly, I just believe that I was a gem for them. Like I was an overqualified candidate to be in that position. They were actually closing the position that day. Like they were stopping all interviews, but they wanted me that bad on their team that they were willing to reschedule and extend the closing date for the position. So it's not that I was lucky.
I feel bad for her because I know how it can be when this has never happened to me on this scale whatsoever, but I know how overwhelming it can be when a video goes viral and you get an influx of comments. Like it is overwhelming. So she's handling it very well given the circumstance. I probably would just delete my account or like not post. I don't know what I would do. Put everything on private. I don't know. I don't know if I would be able to handle it. But it's kind of cut off here on the side, but some of the comments on this video, somebody said, "Tyresha, please." Somebody else put a laughing emoji and said, "I think this is satire." Another person said, so it's an ego thing. Someone else said, I want to know what the position was. This would have been an automatic no for my hiring team. She does have one person who's on her side. They say the fact that they asked if you wanted to go change and come back speaks volumes. So definitely ignore those negative comments. It's definitely obvious they wanted you as an asset. So she has one positive one. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes when I see people's video go viral and they just have tons of negative and negative and negative comments, I write a positive comment. I try to balance out the energy in the comment section because I know it's tough. And a lot of times when people make comments, they don't realize that the person's video who they're commenting on is going to see the comment. For some reason, people think that their comments just like float out in like hyperspace. I don't know. But people see your comments and they read them. And if they're rude or hurtful, like they read it. So let this be a lesson. Just please be aware of the comments that you leave on people's videos. Constructive criticism is okay, but don't be like overly rude. Let me look at one of her other videos. So she responded to that comment that said, you must be highly qualified for them to reschedule. Please use this as a teachable moment. This was her response.
Hi Sharon, thank you so much for the positive engagement. I did want to just let you know that this was a great teacher moment for me, and I will be using all the resources and advice that people have left for me in the comments. I will also be creating some content surrounding wardrobe and styling for young professionals, so stay tuned. I have a lot more to show you guys, so thank you.
See, I hope she goes far. She made one little mistake. The internet blew up, but I feel like she's handling it extremely well given the circumstances. And it seems like she's going to start making styling content and kind of capitalize off of this. That original video got 5.4 million views. That's crazy. I couldn't even imagine. Anyways, let's go to the next one. So the rest of these stories in this video are going to be from Reddit. The first couple are from the r/coworkers stories subreddit. This first one says, Coworker I trained got promoted and now outranks me. I'm quite sad. My colleague that I trained got promoted and now outranks me. This move leaves me sad, deluded, and demotivated. I am the only one that speaks English in the team and she got assigned to me. I taught her what was needed. We're network engineers. She knows her stuff in network, but has never opened a bash cell or Excel. I don't know. That must be a networking term. Go figures. I taught her that. She's lazy and sloppy. I still scold her from time to time because she still manages to get some stuff wrong, or she just completely forgets timings on the activities. During the last year, our manager left and I got the responsibilities unwillingly, but in May, I received congratulations from the higher-ups. My direct manager literally told me, I don't even look at your queue requests. I never got a complaint from your work. Great job. The client called me just to tell me that I did a great job at replacing the manager. I don't think it will ever happen again that a client decides to give positive feedback on a consultant and bothers to call him. Quite shocked. My career boss is the same as direct manager. She saw me and coworker build the product's wiki from scratch. I got the nickname Wiki project-wise. I optimized flows. My record is a child. I don't know what she talking about. I don't know what he talking about here. Some networking. Basically, he does a good job. Okay. Then he said, I trained newcomers, assigned tasks, kept the project alive, but never got the role as true project manager. Now the chain of command changed and I was hoping for a role change looking at my new responsibilities, but they kicked me at square one. My title is network engineer. First delusion. Now I discover yesterday, 20 minutes before the end of the shift, that the coworker got a promotion and a grade change. She now outranks me. With all that I did for this project and everything that I've taught her, they promoted her. I've lost appetite. I'm quite saddened by all this. I mean, I'm happy that my work got recognized because she's got the promotion thanks to me, but that's not the way. On top of all that, her career boss fired herself right after promoting her. Tell me the sense in all this. That's madness. Now my career boss is on vacation and she's a witch. Last time I've asked her for a role change, she replied, giving me more tasks on the project because she needed me. I want to leave. That's my decision, but I still ask, what do you think? If you've managed to read this far, I'll add some context. This job is fully remote. I don't have a bachelor's degree and would like to try doing it thanks to being fully remote. On the other side, I'm not learning anything on this project, and my work got recognized from my trainee. But I was the mind. Should I stay or should I go? This happened yesterday, 20 minutes before the end of shift. I already sent out a few different job applications today. I'm not sure what to do on Monday. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this was a little tough to read. I mean, I would be upset too, but like in work situation, I never am that tied to a job where like it bothers me if another person gets promoted over me. I typically am just like focused on my own work. I'm not one of those people that I've been at this job for 30 years and I'm going to retire and get my pension. I don't think that's the way jobs work these days. So it might sound a little callous, but like, don't get in your feelings over it. Just leave. Just start. You said you sent out some applications. That would be the next step I would take. Because obviously you're not valued at this company. And it almost sounds like your career manager, whatever that means, is in cahoots with, I don't know what's going on in the leadership front. It doesn't sound like fair decisions are being made, so I would leave. Some of the comments before I go to their edit. This person says, "Get a new job." OP said, "Thanks. I need to read this." Another person said, "I second the advice. They've taken advantage of your stability and possibly your nature, assuming you won't make waves. I'd look at malicious compliance subs for ideas of what steps you feel comfortable with. Definitely keep a work diary too, in case someone starts messing with you. I'd keep it in a physical notebook or personal device that work has no access to at all. For example, a profile on your phone." Another person says, "Do you know the pay of the promoted person? It sounds like you have time in with the company and in the field. It's possible that your pay far exceeded that of the person you trained, and the promotion added job duties to that person to earn a pay equivalent to yours. It sucks to get passed up by a promotion and for that promotion to go to someone less qualified than you are, but there can be discrepancies between job titles and pay. If you like the job and you get positive responses from CVs, which I think is the applications, you'll have leverage to give your current employer the opportunity to show how much they value you or show you it's time to move on. Sometimes simply implying that you're looking into other jobs is enough to shake things up as long as you're actually willing to walk away." Someone else said, "Quiet quit. Do no extra tasks you don't need to do in order to keep your job. Get your bachelor's degree and get the heck out of there." OP responded, "Once anger quieted herself and logic was given back the possibility to speak, this was the answer. Without a bachelor's degree, I'm forced to live this situation over and over again. I'll do my least, quiet quit, and mind my own business." Honestly, I think that might be a big part of the reason why he didn't get promoted is because he doesn't have a degree. I honestly think that's an outdated measure of competency, intelligence, whatever, because I just don't think like having a degree these days is necessary in order to do a job. There's so many resources, so many different ways to learn how to do things. And most job duties, you don't need a degree, especially to be a network engineer. You do not need a bachelor's degree. But that is the world that we live in. So yeah, if I was him, I would just stick it out, have the job, pay for the degree, and then dip. That sounds like what what he's gonna do. So this is his edit, I guess, update, kinda. He says, "My emotions are gone. I'm back to normal. Logic kicked in again and analysis mode logged its output." The way this person types is like interesting. Kind of like poetic. One, luck. She got assigned to a career manager that accepted her request and it got through. Even if that manager quit her job and wasn't a. Oh, I know where they work. I know exactly where they work because I have a friend who works at this company and she explained how things work at this company. And it's, yeah, they have like it's weird. I know where this person works. That's why I was confused about like, what is career manager? But then it just clicked. If I'm correct, this is like a major company. Obviously, I'm not going to say it. I don't want to give them away. Anyways, they said even if that manager quit her job and wasn't already part of the company when my colleague received the award. 2, I took a role and responsibilities as technical project manager. No one asked me to do it. This leaves 2 options. 1, I did the doormat. They got the money and not even bothered to thank me. I'm sorry, OP. Next time you post, I'm going to need you to proofread. I say that with love. All the love in my heart. B, I wasn't good enough, but they managed to skip hiring a new guy for the time being. 3, she holds a bachelor's in telecommunications with thesis on short-range communication protocols. I don't. Yeah, that's what I assume is the reason why she got promoted, was simply because she had a degree, which is crazy. He obviously, well, there's 2 sides to every story, but from how he lays it out here, he obviously has more experience and knowledge than she does. Then OP says, given these points, it makes way more sense to promote her over me. She has everything that's needed for a network engineer role. She has received positive feedback. She knows how to do the role she's been hired for. My next actions, I'll quiet quit from now on. I'll drop all manager activities I'm holding. I'll discard any activity that is not network related. I won't mentor anyone ever again on any topic. It's a hard one. I like to teach. I'm always reading geeky stuff and I love to optimize processes. I'll follow her lead, silently watching. On a personal level, I'll try to enroll in a CS bachelor. If needed, I will ask for part-time work. I will keep the work from home job because I'm very aware I won't find any. I'll work on myself to not discriminate non-hetero people. Thank you for telling me. Where did that come from? Anyway, child, listen, OP, I'm glad you got a path forward. Okay, let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so this is also from r/coworker stories. Have you ever met someone who you can tell has never been punched in the face? Oh, Lord. I, 20, have a coworker, 50 female, who has dug herself into a hole after a recent attitude shift. We'll call her Karen for obvious reasons. To preface, we are passenger assistants for an airline. We mostly push wheelchairs, but sometimes we help with the visually impaired or even just people who aren't very familiar with the whole airport thing and would like to be helped through the process. It can be intimidating. Our job mostly consists of helping people who are elderly and or have disabilities. It requires a sense of decorum and compassion that Karen does not have. To start, she's always been inconsiderate of people and passive, mostly aggressive. For instance, she'd put her phone in front of whatever you're doing to have you watch some video of whatever puppy riding a skateboard she's found today, regardless of if you were doing something or not interested. We have 2 fabric chairs in our office. Everything else is hard plastic benches. She would come in extra early and put her things in one of the chairs, despite the fact that we have lockers, to claim the chair for her entire shift. In the instance someone moved her things to sit in the chair, she'd claim it's her seat and have them move. We have people in their 70s on our team, and most of our team is considerate of them whenever they need to sit, so we'll give them the easier and more comfortable chair. It's not required, of course, but to monopolize a chair for the whole day, regardless of whether or not she used it at all that day, is pretty inconsiderate. Child, you better than me. Let Karen come up to me. That's my chair. Man, if you don't get out my face respectfully, you ain't been here all day. And we have lockers. You need to be using them. I would just like put headphones in or something, or act like I didn't hear her, or report her to the manager. So they said eventually she was made to put her things in her locker to avoid this. Okay, good. We make tips on top of our decent hourly wage, and she has asked people, $2? Are you freaking serious? Oh, she's one of them. Oh, Lord. For our incredibly easy job, yes, I'd say they're serious. She recently went on to tell the passenger sitting next to hers, she only gave me $2. Jesus. Wow. Oh, brother. These are just some examples of the entitlement she has towards things and people. She's had issues in the past with discrimination regarding race and religion. She's gotten written up for these things, as well as many others. We have a big rule that is basically to never inconvenience the airline, as we're a contracted company and can be switched out easily, and has happened in the past. Karen, however, has taken it upon herself to get in fights with people who work on the airline, sometimes escalating to yelling at them. Then she'll come back to our office and tell us all how she was just trying to do this and that, and she has no idea why it escalated. This has not happened to anyone else. We're all honestly baffled that didn't get her write-up at least. When multiple chairs are called, she always picks the lightest person, the youngest person, or the whitest person, regardless of the order they came in, which is what we're supposed to do. Now to recently. We're not sure where the switch happened, but she's gotten a lot more aggressive with overstepping boundaries with the team and making herself look good to the bosses, though the latter is going nowhere. She's yanking bags out of people's hands. She's showing up extra early to clock in and be the first one on the schedule. She's talking over people on the radio. Oh my gosh, the radio. The airline calls us for assistance and we show up to help. We have a rotation set by the order we come in that everyone knows. We don't usually have many people on our shift, so it's very easy to memorize every day. They'll call us and whoever's turn it is will copy until Karen is working. She will copy and then call whoever is next. Usually this means she's speaking over whoever copied, and it will appear that the person isn't following protocol and is MIA. We all think that this is an attempt to sound on top of things and seem reliable to the bosses, though they see the confusion it creates, especially because she's frequently wrong. She'll also call us herself for assistance, which usually is someone who didn't want or need our assistance, which is why they didn't ask the airline. This sends us on wild goose chases consistently. We are not to abuse the radio to any degree, only say what is necessary. This absolutely includes her singing happy birthday over it yesterday to someone on the airline. Also, Old MacDonald. The cow really does go moo moo. Bro, what? This lady sounds insufferable. We are only halfway through. How is she still working there? Okay, so they continue. She's started getting aggressive with other members on the team, particularly me, though I think she's continued because I didn't take it lightly and let things go back to normal after one of her fits. Recently, we were going through TSA with a married couple, both in wheelchairs. She was in front of me as we were stopped at the metal detectors, and we have to go back a bit and around through a smaller one that employees use. She decided I was in her way and plowed through me to get to the metal detector. What? I quietly said, "Oh my gosh," and let it slide. Though, just as quickly, she swings back a sign and slams it out of her way, hitting my passenger in the face with the sign. He took it as an accident, and I asked if he was okay right after a second. Oh my gosh. And she mocks me by saying, oh my gosh, yeah, move. Child. I just don't understand how people can be like this in real life. They say, which was just appalling to me and got me so mad my entire body was just filled with heat. I feel you, OP. I would have been mad too. I didn't do or say anything. I get my passenger through the metal detector and gather his things on the other side. Usually, she speeds ahead of me as some sort of attempt to win and will literally start jogging with her passenger in tow to get ahead if she finished last in TSA. This time, she refused to let there be a distance and laughed out loud when I pulled my passenger away some. My response to this situation has been to never speak to her unless absolutely necessary, and my boss has advised this as well. She's not nice. I refuse to fake nice to her, and I also refuse to be ugly. I truly have nothing nice to say, and so I say nothing at all. Like, at all. Another instance, oh Lord, I don't know if I could take any more. Oh God. I wouldn't be able I would have to tell them, don't put me on the schedule with her at all ever. I don't want to work with her. Like, she would have so many complaints. So, another instance, we were on a gate waiting for a plane to come in so we can take the wheelchair passengers to baggage claim, then wherever they needed to go to get to their next location. We have a policy which states if you don't make it to your chair when they're ready, whoever is paying attention and available must take it regardless of rotation to avoid making the passengers wait for an MIA assistance. The passengers were coming off the plane and she was up the jet bridge doing who knows what. I was next in line, so I took the chair and started up the ramp. She starts running over and going, I think you messed up the rotation. This is my chair. That's mine. I ignored her per my manager's request. Always ignore her unless it's actually necessary. In this situation, I followed protocol, and anything I could have said would have escalated her. I could have given her the chair, except 1, I was following policy. 2, there were more chairs coming off and she would get one anyway. 3, I'd have to stop going uphill with 200 pounds in front of me, which would have been dangerous. And 4, we would have held up the line, which the airline is not happy about us doing. She's steps in between me and the chair, puts her elbow. Oh no. Oh no. Now she's assaulting you. I just couldn't imagine being in a work situation like this. And she's had so many complaints and she's still working there. I just don't understand. So they say she steps in between me and the chair, puts her elbow hard to my chest, which caused bruising later on, puts her hand on the chair and says, I'm taking this. I raise my left arm that she's got her arm over to move her hand off my chair. I didn't grab her or push her. The only thing I touched was her arm to push it up and over me, and I said, don't touch me. I kept pushing the passenger and she yells down the bridge, you don't touch me, little girl. She's had many issues with getting in yelling matches in front of passengers and especially on the jet bridge for some reason. I finished with my passenger and told my manager, to which he called her to talk to her about the situation. We were sat down and asked what happened. She went first. She described it pretty well, except for either of our words exchanged at the end and followed it with, I'm just trying to communicate. I can't do my job without communication. I'm sorry. I then explained what happened, including the remarks at the end, my don't touch me, and her, you don't touch me, little girl. And she denied grabbing the chair. Boss says, you just said you grabbed the chair. She then denied saying, I'm taking this, and they essentially told her that's not what she needs to be worried about. They told her that I followed policy, I didn't engage with her. They even told her nothing I could have said would have satisfied her, and regardless, taking a passenger from someone is rude no matter how you do it. They told her if she thinks there's a confusion with rotation again, to let it go and we'll figure it out later, not in front of passengers. She got a write-up and I got a verbal warning for being in the altercation. That's messed up because OP didn't do it. At least it was just a verbal warning and it's not written, but still, that's messed up because they had no way of getting out of that situation, really. The only other way to get out of that was just leave the passenger waiting, which like the management has told them not to do because the airlines don't like it. So what else were they supposed to do? Let this Karen sun them? Why is she still working there? If she has so many write-ups, so many complaints, how many do you need for her to get fired? Like, I would never want to wish someone losing their income, but at what point do you learn that you can't treat people a certain way? All right, we're wrapping this story up. So they say, just yesterday, we were at the jet bridge again, waiting for the plane, and she just kept pushing her wheelchair into the back of my ankles. Oh, hell no. Again and again and again. I said nothing. I didn't look at her. I just put one foot on the footrest of the chair to make it harder, and she pushed harder. I told my boss later. He didn't really care. C'est la vie. Her last job was within the airport, and apparently they were quiet firing her, and that's why she switched to this job. The guy who told her about our job regrets it immensely, and she makes all of our lives so much harder. We have someone in TSA who has worked with her before, and she says that it's always been this way. We just wish she would get a grip and grow up. We have the easiest job in the world, lots of downtime, and we get paid well for the work we do. There is no reason for her to be this high-strung about anything, and for how many write-ups she has, we're not sure she will ever be fired. There's been moments we were sure it would happen, but to no avail. I've put in my 2 weeks and I'm desperate to finally give her one good jab since I've never retaliated to anything. I'm open to suggestions. Oh, Lord. That was oh, goodness. I don't know if I could deal with that. After the first instance, I would have been like, oh, y'all gonna need to put me on a schedule with somebody else. I refuse to work with this lady. And maybe they would have changed something. I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. This commenter says, I'd call the police on her for assault. The company isn't doing much to protect you guys or the passengers. Racism and any sort of discrimination is a fast way out of the job. Why is your company tolerating this? One day, she will run into someone with a short fuse and things will not end up well. That's a good point. Call the popo. Call the police. Call somebody. If the management doesn't want to get involved, escalate it to somebody. Someone said, why are you and your bosses allowing this woman to repeatedly assault you and endanger passengers? She attacks and bruises you and you get written up? You should insist your manager address her physically hurting you and passengers, and if he won't do anything substantial, go over his head. Right. Go to somebody who has more say. Someone else says, can you complain to HR? That injury should be enough to get her fired. OP responded, our company really tries to avoid us going to... What? Wait a minute. Our company really tries to avoid us going to HR as much as possible, and I really want to keep in good graces with this manager as he's the direct reference to another job I'm trying to get. That's not right. That's not right. There's so many jobs out here, OP. That's not right. Someone said, tell your manager, look, I don't want to go to HR, but I will have to if her behavior isn't stopped. Yeah, your manager shouldn't be encouraging you not to go to HR. That's a huge red flag. What? No update. So good luck, OP. I hope you left that job. That's toxic. Well, they did say they put in their 2 weeks, and this was posted a month ago. So I'm assuming they left. I hope so. Let me go to the next story. So the next two are going to be romance at work. Ooh. So this first one, I found out my fiance has a work wife. This is a little bit older. This was posted 2 years ago. My fiance, 21 male, got a new job 5 months ago at an expensive bar, hotel, restaurant as a waiter. I, 21 female, work as a freelance artist and take commissions to make consistent money. He is the breadwinner. The tips he makes from his job are much more than the average for his career path and can comfortably pay the bills. I know a lot of his coworkers as I visit him from time to time if I'm not working. He'll introduce me to them and they'll express how much they've heard about me. It always seemed that he has a very respectful and normal relationship with all of them. A few days ago, I popped in on a surprise visit to see him while he works. I caught him talking to a girl serving drinks at the bar, and when he saw me, he quickly dropped the conversation and sat me down at a table far away from that area of the restaurant. Oh, no, let's all have a talk. Let me join in on the conversation. It wasn't that odd at the time, but I did catch myself wondering later that night who she could be and why he decided their conversation couldn't have been had in front of me. I asked him about it the next day, and he said her name was Corinne and she was new and shy around people. He just didn't want to freak her out. Okay, not that believable, but I love him, so I won't question it. Yesterday, I visited him again without telling him ahead of time. This time, he told me now was not a good time and to just go home. He told me it was rush hour. No, 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 no. No, because what you don't understand, I'm a freelance artist. That means I can work from anywhere. So go ahead and seat me. I'll bring my easel and my canvas and a couple things of paint and order a drink, and I'll sit right here all day if I have to see what's going on. Rush hour, she says, I went home and immediately started going through his messages on his computer. His phone iMessage is connected to his MacBook. I searched her name in conversations and found a message from a few weeks back. You're so cool, Corrine, smiley face, from my fiance. Her contact name was set to work wife. I know it's wrong, but I just kept reading. Their messages consisted of friendly chatting almost every day. Nothing inherently romantic, but still emotionally intimate. He had shared information about his childhood trauma to her, which he had told me he only wanted me to know. I suspect emotional cheating at best and physical cheating at worst. I haven't spoken to him yet about it. However, I already know this won't end in a wedding. Not between us, at least. Okay, well, at least she's smart enough to know that, because it's red flags going up all over the place in this situation. I personally have never understood the whole work wife, work husband thing. It just seems weird to me. I guess it makes sense if you're single, but if you're in a relationship in real life, then why do you have a work husband or a work wife? That just doesn't seem, wouldn't that be? I just don't think I would be comfortable with that. Some of the comments, someone says, make another surprise visit and sit near her. She does not know about you, OP. Make sure she does. He will have zero excuse for being upset. He's fine when you come in and visit when she's not around, obviously. Then you confront. Yeah, honestly, I would make my presence known. If everybody else at the job knows about me, she gonna know about me too, just like everybody else. And don't get to acting weird, because then I'm gonna know something is going on. Somebody said, even better, sit at the bar. Say you just wanted to come in for a drink and that's all. If he says don't come because it's too busy, he won't have to worry because he won't have to seat you. Exactly. What are we drinking today, darling? A lemon drop? Someone else said, or, talk to him about it like an adult instead of doubling down on the immaturity and control. Yeah, whatever. Someone responded to that and said, looking further into a situation that makes her uncomfortable is neither immature nor controlling. Gauging his reactions in the moment is more than fair in this case. I agree with that. I don't think she's doing anything that's immature or controlling because she has already asked him about the situation. She's already noticed that he's done some things that are kind of like weird. She's already brung it up to him and talked to him about it. So now it's time to see how he reacts in the situation. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially because he's acting so odd. It's not one of those situations where when you ask straight up, they're just going to tell. He already has been hiding stuff. So we know that he's not going to tell her if she just straight up asks. So I think the only other option is go up to the job and see what's up. Someone said my last two relationships started off as them being my work husbands, just saying. Yeah, that's kind of sounds like it would go down that road. Someone else said, I don't understand the new definition of work wife and husband people have been coming up with. It's normal to have a casual flirting relationship with someone, but if you're taking it there, it's very strange and chances are it's inappropriate. Right. It's just a red flag to me for a fiance to have a work wife. Are you not even, I'm not even your wife, but you got a work wife? That's crazy. So she had a kind of an update comment. She said she would update, she never did, but she has this longer comment. One, I don't care about him having a close friend of the opposite sex. He has many, which leads me to my second point. Two, he hangs out with his work buddies a lot after shifts, grabs drinks, gone to their houses, the whole 9 yards. Some of them happen to be female, and that's okay. What I find respectful about it is that he doesn't hide any of them from me. Well, none of them except Mystery Bar Girl, who I've never heard him mention before by name or just passing as the girl who works at the bar. All of his other friends are cooks or waiters. He doesn't really work closely to the bar unless he's fetching something ordered by a customer, so it doesn't give him a lot of opportunities to bond with the bartends. In fact, there's only one other bartend that works there, and he's an older guy that my fiance expressed distaste for. So it seems odd that he would have never mentioned her to me and acted like he was hiding her. Exactly. It's odd. Three, I understand that it was wrong. I regret doing it, but I feel like at the time I was slightly justified as it was the messages between him and a woman he's apparently very close with but hasn't told his fiance about. And four, it's not that I don't want him to talk to others about his trauma, it's just contradictory of his past words. His trauma is intimate in nature and bruised his masculinity and confidence massively. He told me several times he doesn't want to speak to his platonic friends about it because it brings up uncomfortable memories and he feels people judge him. But suddenly, he's sharing everything with a girl he barely knows. Another comment of hers, we were high school sweethearts. I thought love would be able to carry us through. Girl, well, I'm glad you learned that lesson early. That's a myth. Love will carry us through. That's a myth. Don't believe it. Okay, I'll read this last story. It's another workplace story, another work wife, work husband situation. Am I the a-hole for not making him food after his work wife kept making him food? Me, 27 female, and my husband, 34 male, have been married for 3 years, but we were dating 4 years prior. He recently got a promotion in his company and moved to a different department. In this department, he recently started interacting with female 24. I dislike her and have from the start. Every time I'm there, she makes sure to call him her work husband. Oh, girl. Oh, or she will do simple things such as making him food or giving him extra tight hugs. But my breaking point was last week when he had come home with the food I made him. When I asked him why his lunch bag was still full of what I had made him in the morning, he said that female 24 had made him food and he didn't want to seem rude and waste it. So I ignored it till he threw away the food I made him. I woke up at 6 a.m. just to make him his favorite food, but ever since then, this has been happening every day. It's starting to get annoying. Until today, I decided to not make him lunch. He came downstairs in the morning to me making breakfast and asked me where his lunch was. I said I didn't make him one because it was going to go to waste. Anyways, he started arguing that I was being petty over a little thing, but I tried to discuss how I felt and he went over it. So, am I the a-hole for not making him food? Child. Not the a-hole, but you got bigger fish to fry, sis. This reminds me of a story we had before where the husband butt dialed the wife on accident and she overheard him talking to his coworker about how the wife's food was so terrible and the girl was like a better cook than she was like, "Is it better than your wife's?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then it came out that she had offered him fellatio and he supposedly rejected, but he let her feel his muscles over his shirt. It was like such a like childish thing. I think the wife ended up leaving him, but it reminds me of that situation. Child, these work relationships can really get out of hand quickly if you aren't careful. I mean, you're working with this person for 8 hours a day. You might even go to a happy hour here and there, so you have plenty of time to develop a relationship, build rapport, talk to each other, bond. And then she's making him food, giving him hugs, calling him, no, that's doing too much. And honestly, I think OP has a husband problem in this situation because why is he not like telling her to stop? He's accepting it. He loves the attention. A couple of the comments from this post: your husband is an idiot. He's absorbing the attention from a young female coworker and snubbing his wife. You are a rarity in today's world. My wife has prepared my lunches for the past 26 years, not out of duty or coercion, but out of love. I would be danged if I would worry about another person's feelings, let alone a female, at the sacrifice of my wife. It's not about the food, it's a labor of love. I hope for both of your sakes he gets his head out of his butt before it's too late. It might already be too late, not gonna lie to you. Another person said, your husband is an idiot and opening himself up to complaints. If he has any sort of seniority and makes preferential decisions regarding this friend, it doesn't take much effort for those around them to extrapolate extra tight hugs into their having an affair via office gossip. And another person, the food isn't the issue here, clearly. There are so many Reddit stories that started with the work wife providing OP's ex-husband with food. There was even one where the work wife told the pregnant wife that the husband liked her cooking better, so she'd better watch out or she'd be taking her husband. That wife ended up having to co-parent with her ex-husband and the work wife he ended up marrying. Oh, yeah. I think in plain words, you need to tell your husband that you don't want him interacting with her at all unless it's required for business and only as minimum as necessary. Her behavior, from consistently cooking for him to calling him her work husband and giving him tight hugs, are extremely inappropriate. He should not be more worried about hurting a coworker's feelings than disrespecting his marriage. He didn't want to hurt her feelings by not eating her food, but he has no issue with throwing his own wife's food away in front of you. His coworker's behavior is a direct threat to his marriage, and it is his responsibility to set and enforce the boundaries to protect said marriage. I agree with that comment. And the last comment, who is hugging on their coworker in front of their significant other or at all in the first place? I think you need to sit down and have a real, frank conversation with your husband, because if the shoe was on the other foot, he would not like you doing any of this, right? And so she has a small update that was same day, 3 hours later. She said, me and him are going to talk when he gets back home, but I did talk to him a little before he went in the shower. He just got mad when I asked if I could see his texts between her, which ended in him getting defensive and saying that if I trusted him, I wouldn't need to. I may bring up the option of divorce, but I need to figure out the financial situation first. I have a job, but it barely even pays. Until then, I'm going to start packing up my stuff little by little. I'm talking to a divorce attorney and figuring out where to go from there. But I won't until me and him have the talk. Thank you to everyone who has let me open up on this a little bit. Okay. Oh, let me see if she has any updates. This was August 7th. Oh, no updates. Oh no. This was 15 days ago. Jeez, man. I hope it. I mean, I was gonna say I hope it worked out, but honestly, I don't know what she gonna decide to do, but it's not looking good. The fact that he was so defensive over the text messages, that's a red flag. Because if you're not doing anything, then why wouldn't you let your wife see the messages when asked? She asked. It's not like she tried to go behind your back and look at them. So why not? I don't know. If I was a wife, I'd be trying to have a little meeting with this little work wife. Anyways, we are going into our palette cleanser for today's video. So just a reminder to please subscribe. We are on the road to 10K. And let me read this last story. This is from the r/petty revenge subreddit. It is also a work-related story. I picked it especially for this video. The title is Annoying Guy at Work. One time I was working on a construction site for a fancy hotel. The owner had a lot of money and was basically rebuilding this crumbling Victorian building from scratch. He was one of those old money types, silk suits and fancy, vaguely British accent and everything. Not a bad guy, but obviously living insulated in that rich person bubble a lot of people like that live in. Never had to worry about having money for groceries and rent, that whole kind of vibe. He'd come and inspect the site regularly and talk with the coworkers, very casually and friendly, no pressure on us at all. Really a great guy to work for, except sometimes his son would make these visits instead. Guy was a grade A rich douchebag. Only job he'd ever had was from his dad, and that basically involved coming to sites like ours and acting like a big shot. He'd click his fingers at us and treat us like hired help, demanding we bring him coffee and stuff, and talking to us like we were his servants. Ew, I don't like that. He'd constantly make us do pointless status update meetings purely to make himself feel more important, meetings that wasted a lot of time. Now, after a few weeks of this, me and the guys came up with a plan for some petty revenge. The hotel was almost finished and the plumbing completed for the first floor, so we had all of the porta potties removed. It wasn't really necessary when you've got a brand new bathroom to use. Now, this new bathroom was not located in an obvious spot within the complex of the hotel, so the son and his dad come around again for a visit. The son, being a total douche, as usual, demands another meeting. Before he does, I saw him looking around for the porta potties and obviously not finding them. I quickly usher him into our meeting cabin, ignoring that he was looking for a bathroom. We generously pour the boy an extra large coffee and begin an exhaustive summary of our progress. Well, after half an hour, he's obviously squirming, but I make sure to keep going in more detail about the project. He asks where the bathroom is, and I say we're awaiting new porta potties to be delivered. The guys find it hilarious and are sure to drag the meeting out as long as possible. Not one of them told him we actually had a bathroom. Ha! I love it. That's great petty revenge. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.